Do you limp when you walk? If so, you may wonder what caused it and, more importantly, how to fix it. In this video, I'll break down what causes limping, including the most common misconception about limping. Then I'll give you 3 simple strategies that you can use to fix your limp so that you can start walking normally again. So first of all, what causes limping? Well, you may start to limp due to pain or an injury, such as an ankle sprain or a sore knee. But that's not the most common cause. In fact, the most common misconception about limping is that if someone is limping, it means they're in pain. And that's not true. More commonly, limping is caused by muscle weakness, and often limping precedes pain, which means that limping can be a cause of pain rather than an effect of it. One of the most common patterns of limping is a side-to-side lean like that. That's known as a Trendelenburg gait, and it's caused by weakness of the hip abductors. When you stand on one leg, gravity is naturally trying to pull your pelvis down around an axis of rotation of your opposite hip. Now, your hip abductor muscles, particularly your gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, and tensor fasciae lata, lie on the outside of the hip here, and they attach from the ilium down to the hip bone. And so those muscles pull the pelvis closer to the hip, which lifts the opposite side. So gravity is trying to pull down on the pelvis, and these muscles are pulling on this side to lift the opposite side of the pelvis. So you need to strengthen the hip abductor muscles in order to prevent that hip drop. Now, before we go into strengthening exercises, the pattern or the side of your lean can tell us about the severity of the weakness. For example, if you limp like this, where your hip moves out to the side and your trunk leans slightly away from the stance side, that tells us it's a relatively less severe weakness. Your hip abductor muscles aren't strong enough to hold your pelvis level, and so you get that slight drop. However, if that drop gets severe enough, then you won't be able to clear your leg through. And so your body is pretty smart. You learn to compensate by throwing your weight over the stance leg, which helps you to balance, and that way you don't need to rely on these muscles as much. So if you're leaning towards the stance side like that, it means your body has compensated for the weakness, which probably means it's been going on longer or has gotten a little bit more severe. But regardless of whether you have a pelvic drop to that side or a pelvic drop to this side, ultimately you need to strengthen the hip abductor muscles. Now, that can take 2 months or more to do, depending on the severity of your weakness. So I want to first give you one quick win and then show you 2 strengthening exercises. Now, the fastest way to stop a limp is to walk with a cane in the hand opposite of your weak leg. Now, yes, this isn't a fix, it's a compensation. But if your muscles aren't currently strong enough for you to walk without limping, the longer you go on limping, the more likely it is that you're going to cause pain either in your hip, your knee, your back, or somewhere else. So in the short term, use the cane to help you walk without limping. And here's how you do that. First of all, the height. You want the cane to be roughly about the same height as your hip bone or greater trochanter, or if you hold it 6 inches in front of you and 6 inches out to the side, you should have roughly a 20 to 30 degree bend in your elbow. This will allow you to put some weight through the cane and take some weight off of the stance leg. Now, why do you use it on the opposite side? Well, again, gravity is trying to drop you down this way, so it's producing a torque around your hip in this direction, and your hip abductors have to pull you back up in this direction. You use the cane in this hand to help push you back in that direction, and so it assists the hip abductors on the opposite side. And then you'd want to move the cane at the same time that you move your stance leg. So weak leg and cane, and then strong leg. Weak leg and cane, strong leg. And then you repeat that over and over. Now, eventually, you want to get your hip abductor muscles stronger so that you don't need the cane anymore. And one good way to practice doing that is to stand on one leg and balance. Ideally doing this in front of a mirror so that you can make sure that your pelvis is staying level and that it's not dropping down to the side like that. It is okay to use a cane or a piece of furniture or something to balance initially to be successful, or you can just leave your other toe slightly on the floor, and then as you get stronger in these muscles, gradually try to lift that toe up off the floor until you're able to stand on one leg without your pelvis dropping. And ideally you want to work up to where you can hold balance like this for 10 seconds or longer. Now, as you're doing this, you also want to try to activate your gluteal muscles, particularly the back fibers or posterior fibers of the gluteus medius. Many people will compensate by using the tensor fasciae lata, which is up here, but ideally you want to use your glutes. So as you stand on one leg and balance, you want to try to squeeze or tighten the glute muscles and then gradually lift the leg off, keeping the tension in those muscles. Now, if you've had weakness for a long time, sometimes people have difficulty feeling or getting those muscles to turn on. So the next exercise will help you learn to turn on those glute muscles. For this one, we're going to lie down. You can do this on a floor, on a bed, or a couch. Sometimes a couch does have an advantage because you can lie back against the backrest and it keeps you from rolling backwards. Because if you roll backwards, you can compensate with your tensor fasciae lata. But wherever you choose to do it, you can do the clam exercise like this, where you try to squeeze your glutes, keep your body rolled slightly forward, and then lift the knee as high as you can, activating the glutes, feeling the tension there, and not allowing yourself to roll back that way. Now, if you watch this channel often, you'll know that I have a love-hate relationship with the clam because it's not a very functional exercise. It also doesn't require a whole lot of force and pales in comparison to what you actually need when you're walking. So this is really just an exercise to learn to turn them on. But the next progression from that is to do it with your legs straight. Again, you want to make sure you keep your body rolled forwards and then try to turn your knee and toes to point up towards the ceiling without allowing your body to roll back. Now, if you do it on a couch or a love seat like this, another advantage is that you can put your leg out on the armrest, and that helps support the weight of the leg, so you can squeeze the glute there and then just do a very slight lift, just a millimeter or two off of the armrest, just enough that it's not touching. And then come back down. And then lift up slightly again, squeeze the glutes there, make sure you stay rolled forwards, and then come back down, squeeze the glutes, slightly lift, and then come back down. Now, if you'd like more tips to walk without pain or limping, check out this walking tips playlist right over here. But before you go, if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you get notified of my future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.